Hello, PropStat students. This is the first day of our new unit on statistical inference. I'd like you to please take some notes on the slides and make sure you include the problem on slides 11 to 12 and your solution to that problem. You will turn those notes into the substitute, so make sure your name is on them. Our driving question for this unit is, how could you as a talent agent use confidence intervals and significance testing to determine if someone is skilled enough to pick? What do you need to know to answer this question? Make a few notes on your paper of things that you might need to know. There might be some mathematical things you need to know or just some real world things you need to know. How do talent agents find new players? How do talent agents determine who is the best fit for their organization? You could pause this video here and play the first video clip, or you could just watch that video clip at the end. So statistical inference involves drawing conclusions based on a sample of data and finding out, does the data support the hypothesis? Here's a picture describing the situation. Here's your entire population, and you have a smaller sample of the population. You test your hypothesis on the sample, and you make conclusions about the entire population based on the sample. A confidence interval is the range of values our data should fall within, notwithstanding pure chance. So chance might make things a little higher, a little lower than you expect, but you can be fairly confident that you will land within a certain interval. You can have a 90% confidence interval, you can have a 95% confidence interval, or you can have a 99% confidence interval, and those are all used sometimes. However, the most frequently used one, and the one that we'll be using, is the 95% confidence interval. We should be 95% confident that our data will fall within 2 standard deviations of the mean. For the mean, we will be using the variable p, the probability that the event will occur. And we will also be using the standard deviation. So here's your 95% confidence interval. We are 95% confident that the probability for a sample will fall within probability minus 2 standard deviations and probability plus 2 standard deviations. Remember that the formula we're using to approximate standard deviation is sigma equals the square root of the probability times 1 minus the probability over n, the number of trials. So here's a problem. Suppose you are told that 21% of high school students in the 1980s smoked, based on the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, which sampled 140 students, given that the results were normally distributed. Find the standard deviation, find the 95% confidence interval, and interpret the confidence interval. So now I ask you to pause the video and see if you can go back in the slides and find the formula for standard deviation and use that to do part A. All right, so you should be checking your work now. So here is the formula that we used. Sigma equals the square root of p times 1 minus p over n. And you can use Desmos. When you substitute in, the probability was 21%, and 1 minus the probability is 0.79 over 140 people who were asked, and that should give you a probability of 0.0344. All right, so now you want to pause the video to find the 95% confidence interval. We know the probability and we know the standard deviation, so you can find the probability plus 2 standard deviations and the probability minus 2 standard deviations. So the probability was 0.21. And then if I add 2 times the standard deviation, and I subtract 2 times the standard deviation, I get these two numbers, 0.2788 and 0.1412. And now we have to make our 95% confidence statement. So again, you should pause and try that on your paper before you look at the video. All right, so let's see what we got. I am 95% confident that between 14.12% and 27.88% of high school students in the 1980s smoked. All right, so in addition to turning in your notes from today, you also have a reading assignment. It is linked on the slides. It will be linked right here on your slides, but it's also listed separately both in Schoology and in the email I sent you. So you and your partner would each choose a different article and read it. Then you'll discuss your articles, and then you will complete the form that is both in Schoology and in the email that I sent you.